Hello, everyone. Hi. Let me know if you guys see me well. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hey. All right. Good. Okay. All right. So guys, let me know if you see me well, if you can hear me well. Let me know as well. Hello, want to see the world. So excited to see you. Okay. Hello, everyone. All right. Okay, so I am so excited to be with you guys today. We're going to touch on a lot of things today. We have a special guest. I'm so excited to talk more about her and bring her to the platform. So, welcome back to Boss from Home. Today, we have a special guest who's going to be joining us. She is someone who has defied the odds. She's overcome challenges. She's achieved remarkable success in just a short amount of time. So please, guys, give a warm welcome to Alisia.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, yes. Okay,
yes,
good.
I'm so excited to have you here. I had to bring out, my favorite air horn sound because it's going to be so monumental.
That made me feel special. I love that.
Yes. So, let me just go ahead and turn that off. Hold on a sec. Okay, so yes, so if you guys have been here for a while, you know that this is our first guest, and you guys have been seeing me here on this channel a lot, but I wanted to bring someone else on here that has actually, she is amazing. Once you guys hear her story, you're going to be so encouraged. So she has she's so inspiring. She has faced financial struggles. She relied on government assistance, and now she is in tech. She's in the technology industry, and she has landed a high-paying job in only 24 days. Her journey is one of perseverance, determination, and triumph. If you guys have been here for a little bit, just a little spiel, you may have heard me mention a little bit about Coursecareers. But in short, Coursecareers is an online modern learning platform, and it offers affordable self-paced courses in technology sales, information technology. They even added in software development, data analytics, UI, UX, digital advertising, and one that I'm actually in right now, human resources. So graduates from Coursecareers get set up with companies like Yelp, HubSpot, Uber Eats, Angie, so much more. So Alisia, through her partnership with Coursecareers, she has found the resources and support that she needed to launch her career in tech sales. And now not only is she making more than she ever has before, but she has built a personal brand, making investments to rid herself of debt completely. So she's killing it. I'm so excited and inspired. Today, Alisia graciously joins us to share her incredible journeys, insights into the tech industry, and valuable advice for anyone looking to pursue their dreams, especially in the remote work landscape of 2024. So without further ado, let's dive into Alisia's inspiring story and learn more from her experiences as she takes on as she talks about her journey, her adversity, and achievement. So welcome, Alisia. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Listen, I'm excited, especially when I learned a little bit more about you. I knew that you really have an inspiring story that I know a lot of people can touch, can understand, can even be inspired by. So we're going to get into that very soon, but just quick ground rules for you guys in the chat. Just a quick reminder, keep the chat respectful and positive. I welcome your questions and comments. That will be during our Q&A segment, which will be done after the interview. And let's keep the conversation focused and enjoyable for everyone. Let's make sure that kindness and consideration for others is taken into consideration. And thank you for your cooperation. So let's get started. So Alisia, can you tell us about your story? Walk us a little bit through your journey before breaking into tech.
Yes. Okay. So It seems like a long story, but honestly, when I look back, it really was just like several years ago. So I'm really just going to start in 2021. My husband and I, we purchased our first home in 2021, August. And we were so excited. I'm the first person in my family to ever, own a home. That was a big move for me. And we moved to a really good neighborhood. We felt really good. And then a month after, literally a month after we purchased our first home, the company that I was working for, they basically just told me that they had to dissolve my position, meaning just get rid of it completely. And so basically they did that because of, again, we were in 2021. So this was on the backs of the pandemic. And so at that point, I had actually moved from working on site at the University of Maryland to now working at home. But they, had to let me go. And so the good thing was I was able to get a severance package. And so that did last me for about 4 months, which was good because, we had just moved into our first home. Christmas was coming, holidays, all that. So, I was blessed to be able to at least still have something. Yeah. And right after that, I had to apply for unemployment because, I had lost my job. And if you've ever been on unemployment or know anything about it, then you know that you're only getting a percentage of what you normally will make at your job. So I was literally getting less than half of what I was making for my previous salary. And so, we were trying to make it work. I was door dashing. Also, I just want to mention that my husband and I were not in a financial situation to just live on one income. And so that was another, kind of big eye opener to us where we're like, okay, we need to do better. But during that time, I would say like early 2022, I had to like just, bite the bullet. And I was like, you know what? We're not going to make it like this. I'm going to have to do something. And so I had to apply for food stamps, which I just want to be clear because I know that's a part of my story. I was on food stamps like years and years ago when my kids were younger. I have 2 teenagers and my kids were younger. And I worked really, really hard to get myself out of that situation. And so for me to have to go back, I felt like I was kind of being knocked down 10 times. And so I didn't want to do it, but I had to put my pride aside. We needed it. And so from unemployment, food stamps, door dashing when I could, we were making it work, but barely. I will say that we were barely making it work. And then my husband and I were very spiritual. So in February of 2023, literally just last year, we did a Daniel fast. And I had went all of 2022 trying to figure it out, trying to make it work, trying to do all these different things online. Nothing was working. And then in 2023, I said, you know what, we need to do this. And so we did the Daniel fast, the 21-day Daniel fast, and it literally changed my life. I will say it changed my life. And during the last week of the fast, I just so happened to be scrolling through YouTube and I saw this video of Anthonyoneal, who I had never watched any of his videos. So for his video to be recommended to me, I didn't understand why, but I was just like, okay, the videos, it was just like, that's God working. I knew that's what it was. But at the time I didn't know. It was just an intriguing video of these people talking about how they, took this course and were making all this money. And I just couldn't stop watching. And they were talking about tech and, the tech industry. And I'm just like, I have never been in tech. I've never wanted to work in tech. When I think of tech, the tech industry, I think that is really hard. So that wasn't something that I was looking to do. But for some reason, I couldn't stop watching. So I did my research after I looked at that video. I watched another video of a guy called Cyrus, which people probably know about him. He had a really inspiring story as well. And so I was like, okay, let me go to this website. They're talking about coursecareers. Let me go to this website. Let me do my research. So I went to the website. They have a free course that you can watch. It basically just teaches you everything you're going to learn once you pay and sign up. And after watching the course, I was just like, you know what? I feel like for some reason, God is leading me here. I really felt that on my spirit. And so I talked to my husband, because we had to pay for the course. And he was just like, yeah, if you feel like this is what we need to do, then I'm with you. And so we had just got our income taxes back. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this money and I'm going to just pay for the course. And that's what I did. I used someone's discount code. I paid for the course and it literally changed my life. I signed up for the course and I was like, I gave myself a goal. because I knew that if I just went in there blindly, I was going to be all over the place. I had to give myself a goal, because also at the end of March, I was going to be losing everything. Unemployment was going to be running out. I had been on unemployment for over a year at that point. And then also with government assistance, you have to recertify every year. And so I really felt on my spirit one day, God literally told me, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in my bathroom and God literally was like, you are not going to recertify. You're not going to recertify. You're not going to depend on anybody but me. And so I said, okay, at the end of March, I'm not recertifying. My unemployment's going to be ending. I'm literally going to have to make this work. And so I had a goal. I gave myself a deadline, and I basically completed the course in 1 week. There's 5 modules within the course. I did 1 module every single day.
Wow.
And then after that, I studied there's a final exam. So I studied a few days for the final exam. After that, I was like, okay, I did that. Now it's time to do my resume. So I'm really good with doing resumes because I used to do that in my past. So I optimized and, reworded my resume and set that up. And then I went ahead and did my LinkedIn profile, and I started mass applying for jobs. And the job that I ended up getting, I applied for on a Friday. And on that Monday, they were inviting me in for an interview. And my life hasn't been the same since.
Oh my gosh, your story is so
been the same since.
Amazing, inspiring in so many different ways. Number one, your faith.
Thank you.
Your faith to stop other, government assistance and say, you know what, I'm going to step out on faith. And I know that the next step, basically God has me, and it's either do or die, basically. Like, I'm going to get this done. It has to work now. There's no other choice. Right. So I love that. I love that you also had a goal. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing how you put your faith to action and it worked for you. So I know that you mentioned you did like door dashing. And so how did that work with you transitioning from dashing and your previous positions into breaking into tech where you are now? And were there any type of adjustments that needed to be done, overcome during this transition? What did that look like?
So, well, as far as the dashing, I wasn't really worried about that. I just stopped that completely once I started the course. Once I actually got offered the position, there was training. But I had been used to working from home at that point. So it wasn't really a adjustment as far as working from home because I had been used to it for quite a while. But it was an adjustment, I will say, because I have no real sales experience or technical experience for that matter. So just being able to get the job itself was a blessing with no experience. But I will say that the hardest struggle for me was the sales aspect, because it wasn't like I just went and got an SDR or BDR position where you're setting appointments. I actually landed an account executive role, a sales account manager role, where I was actually selling. So I had to really, do some research and okay, I need to make sure I know how to sell, because that's what they're expecting me to do. So we did have training, which was good, but I did do my own research and stuff. Once I was off hours, I would look at a lot of YouTube videos. I followed this one guy who I really love, and I refer his videos to all of my clients because his video really helped me out a lot. But I would just look at videos on the best ways to sell, how to overcome rebuttals, all of the things that, even though they were teaching me in the training, I felt like I needed more, And so I would just do that from time to time. I'm instead of me scrolling, YouTube, looking at videos on makeup or whatever, I'm let me look at something that's actually going to teach me something that I can implement. And so that's what I did. And so it did help me.
Lovely. I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot of people watching now, you may be where she was before, where you're doing a job and you're not exactly getting paid the way that you want to. You may be door dashing, doing different gig jobs. That's huge, especially since the pandemic. A lot of people had to lean on something that they can actually, control when there's when you're not able to control other things, you're able to get your hands on maybe your vehicle and make money through it. So I find that to be amazing how, with absolutely no experience, you were able to jump to an account executive role. So you didn't have to stop at SDR, the sales development, sales development. Yes.
Representative, right. So there's a story behind that actually.
Yeah.
So okay, this is the story behind that. I actually got the job accidentally
Oh,
because I was applying for SDR. So SDR, sales development representative, and then BDR, business development representative. They're just one and the same. They really are the same job, just different job titles. But Course Careers teaches you how to get into tech through these specific roles, SDR or BDR. So I was only applying what I thought was for SDR and BDR roles, but I was mass applying for a lot of jobs because, again, I was on a time crunch. And what ended up happening was when they sent me the first initial interview request, I didn't even look at what the job was for. I just assumed it was for a SDR because
yeah.
that's what I thought that I was applying for. But it turned out that during one of my last interviews, because there were, I think I went through 4-stage interview process, but during, I think, the third interview process, she was asking, like, do you have any other questions for me? And I had asked her, I was like, yeah, what is I can't remember the exact question, but I was asking something specific for SDRs. And she
Mhm.
was like, oh, well, she was like, you're not applying for the SDR, right? Because she was like, we weren't applying for that. She's like, this is for the sales account manager. And I had to like quickly act like I knew what I was talking about. And I was like, oh no, I was just wondering, I was just asking.
Yes. Play it
Yeah.
out.
So I had to play it off. But
Yes.
it ended up that I was actually applying for a sales account manager role. So when they ended up sending me the offer letter and I saw what my base pay was and the commission and everything, which we had went over, but just to see it in writing, I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it because just my base pay was
Mm.
more than a salary that I had ever had. And that
Wow.
was not even including commission.
That's amazing.
So I just accidentally got the job, which was a
Amazing.
blessing.
Ooh, I love that.
Yes.
So, did you ever like take a step back and think, oh, there's something about this tech sales or tech thing just seems unreal? Like, did you ever doubt the validity of pursuing a career in tech sales or tech period? And also the effectiveness of course careers in helping you achieve your
Mhm.
goals. Did you ever have like doubts along the way?
Honestly, and this is the crazy thing, I had so much adrenaline during that 1 month because from the time that I signed up for the course and then the time that I signed my offer letter was literally 24 days. So from that entire 24 days, I just had this adrenaline. Like I knew that God
Mm,
had me in the right position. I never thought that this was not going to work. I never thought that I wasn't going to get a job. I didn't know how much I was going to be making. I didn't know, exactly what job I was going to get, but I just knew that everything was going to work out. So for
mm,
me, I really didn't have any doubts, but also taking the course that kind of helped me as well, because once I got in the course and I started seeing everything they were teaching, I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable enough to at least go out here and be prepared for a job interview to answer
mhm.
the questions that they may ask me. But the course itself, it really does what it says. Like it sets you up to be able to get your foot into the door, right? You may not start off making all this money, but you're going to start off making a really good amount of money. Like I said, I made more money than I did at any of my other roles, and all
Mm,
I did was take a course.
yeah.
And so I will say that if you really take the information that they give you, and then
Mhm.
also you have to do stuff on your end. So get your resume together, get your LinkedIn together. And then with that package, there's no way you're not going to be able to succeed because the course teaches you everything you need to know to get your foot in the door.
Yes, absolutely. And I like
Yeah.
what you said about like having basically taking the course is way better than you not have taken the course because at least you have the language to connect with them. You're not just some, person just getting in and you have absolutely no idea what to say, what to connect and touch, with
Mm-hmm.
your interviewer with. So that's amazing. Um,
Right.
yeah. So before you enrolled in the course, how much did you know about tech in the tech industry? Did you have any type of, you said you didn't have any type of sales experience. So like, did you know
Yeah.
anything about tech?
So the closest that I will say, the two jobs that I will say, the closest that I ever got to anything involving tech, which I didn't look at it as tech, but I have 15 years experience in customer service. And I'm on like the inside sales, not sales, but on the customer service where I'm receiving phone calls every day, talking to people and stuff like that. So one of the jobs that I had, which was I think back in 2013, it was a support specialist. That was the job title, support specialist or something like that. And that was more so, I would say, in the IT. Really, we were just doing password resets for people. So that was
Oh.
like the closest that I had to anything technical.
Mhm.
And that really, like I said, if I probably would have stuck with that, I could have been promoted up. And, I didn't know anything about it. Honestly, I really didn't. And the next job I got after that was back into customer service. So had I known the industry and the world of tech and all of these opportunities, I could have stuck with that, but I had no knowledge. And then what I will say is when I revamped my resume, I had to really sit down and look at all of my jobs. And I'm like, okay, do I have any experience? Like, what can I put on here, to really help me out other than course careers? And so it was a job that I had when my first year in college, which I didn't graduate, but my first year in college, I was trying to put myself through school, and it was like a telemarketing job. And I think that it was appointment setter. And so basically what we did, now looking back, it was actually what a SDR would do, because they would give us a list of paper every day, and I would cold call all these numbers. And we were actually selling, I think, windows. And so I would cold call all these numbers every day, and I would have to like set up an appointment for the account executives to go out and, close the deal, and I would get like a commission. But honestly, I didn't even know what that was, because they called me an appointment setter. But now looking back, I'm like, I was an SDR, but I didn't know that. Because this was years ago. They didn't even have that job title years ago. We were doing everything like on an actual phone, not even on the computer. And so I took that job, I reworded it, I, revamped it, and I added that to my resume, because I'm like, that's the only experience that I have. So let me put that on there. And I think that did help me some.
Yes, absolutely. And even your background in customer service, I mean, there's much,
Yes, definitely.
transferable skills there.
Exactly.
So hello, everyone. If you're just now joining, we have a question. What is the course? So the course is for the technology sales course in Course Careers, just to let you guys know. And was the base pay 6 figures? Would you like to answer that?
Yes. So no, the base pay was not 6 figures. Oh my goodness. Listen.
You got to start from somewhere. Okay.
Okay, right? 6 figures base. No, it was not that. But I will say though, so my job was, and I like to say that I broke into a 6-figure salary position, because I did. So basically, your base pay, you already know that's what you're getting, whether you make a sale or not. Then you have your OTE, which stands for on target earning. So basically, if you hit whatever their target goals is for you for that month for an entire year, I could definitely make 100,000 or more, which was honestly like upwards of 125,000. So making just the minimum, and for my job, it was 13 sales a month, 13 closes a month, and most people were making more than that. Every month, people were making more than that, so they're making over 100,000. But you have to understand that there's a difference from SDR and account executive. So you're going to make more because you're actually the one closing. So you get more of that commission. But even with SDR and BDR, they're still making really, really good money, like 80,000. Someone I know was making 95,000. So starting off at 100K base, no, but you can definitely make that in a year if you're hitting your target goals and your quota.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I find it so inspiring how in your previous role, you were doing the cold calling for the account executive, not realizing that you would have that same position later on. Oh, that's amazing.
Right. Years later.
Right? So
full circle. It really was full circle.
Yeah, it just comes full circle. I love that. So how did the course specifically prepare you to land your job in tech sales? Were there any like modules or lessons that you found beneficial in your job search?
Yeah, so I will say the course teaches you a lot of the basics of what someone like me who had no experience, they taught me everything. As far as, I had a LinkedIn profile years ago, never used it. They taught me how to set up my LinkedIn profile. I did go back and, optimize it and do my own thing once I started learning more about LinkedIn, but they teach you how to set up your LinkedIn, how to start networking on LinkedIn, how to format your resume, right? They teach you a lot of the things that, like I said, if I had no knowledge or I hadn't taken this course, I would not have known this information. And then they also teach you about, what I love is they were teaching you about like all the systems, all the terminology, the verbiage, everything that pretty much you're going to have to be using on a day-to-day basis. They're teaching you about all of this. So when you get to those job interviews and they're asking those questions, like about HubSpot, Salesforce, all these CRM systems, you already know a little bit about it. They also teach you how to take free online courses through these platforms. So HubSpot has like free courses you can take to continue your learning. LinkedIn, has LinkedIn Learning. So they were teaching me all of these things that I didn't have any knowledge of. And so I was able to like further my education just by learning what they taught me in the course. So definitely it helped.
Yes. It's like, would you rather piece together different pieces of information here and there, or would you take one full course that will download everything to you and have access to the jobs that you want to get to, people that are very important and, in those positions. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
Yes. So reflecting on your experience with Course Careers, what lessons from the course were directly applicable in securing your first tech job? I think I had pretty much asked that, but kind of reworded that.
So yeah, but I mean, I would say almost all of them, honestly. They have courses in there so they do recommend 3 books that you read. Yes. And I just listen to the audiobooks because, like I said, I was on a time crunch because reading 3 books is a lot. But one of the books is called Spin Selling. So what I like is they teach you about not just how to sell, but they also have books. The other one was How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is just a really good life book to read. And I recommend that for anyone that it is a really good book. And so just the stuff that they were telling us about, like I said, the books and everything that was in the modules, this was stuff that I could utilize in my other businesses that I was able to start, from being able to break into this position. And also in my day-to-day, sales position, my sales role as a sales account manager. So a lot of the things that they were teaching I could use them in multiple ways throughout my life. And it's a really, really good course.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about your job search. So can you describe the process of like prospecting companies, identifying potential employers within the tech fields? What does that look like? What did that look like for you?
So I was like a fish out of water when that happened because I was like, okay, I know I have everything together, took the course, did my resume, LinkedIn. When it came time to start applying, I had first went to Indeed because Indeed.com, to look for jobs because I love Indeed. I found a lot of my previous positions on Indeed. But I said, you know what, let me utilize Indeed, but then also LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a beast in itself. If you're not looking for jobs on LinkedIn, you are doing yourself a disservice. Like LinkedIn is a beast in itself. And so I went on LinkedIn as well as Indeed. But on LinkedIn, you're able to actually go to these companies' profiles because they have profiles. You can go to their profiles. You can look for hiring managers and you can reach out to them. Now, this is a tip that I will give and I actually give to my clients when I do one-on-ones. What I started doing was instead of reaching out to the hiring managers and recruiters, which I did for some jobs, I only recommend doing that for the ones that like has everything you want, income, location, like everything. Then you can, reach out to the hiring managers, but don't do that for every job. What I started doing was I started reaching out to the people who had the jobs that I wanted. So I started reaching out to people who had SDR roles at the companies that I wanted to work for. And I would just reach out. And it was like semi-formal, it doesn't have to be super professional, but, hey, I saw that you work at such and such. I just applied for their, role as an SDR. Do you mind if I just ask you a few questions about the interview process? Do you mind if I ask a few questions about how your day-to-day role is? I would ask questions like that. And you will be surprised how many people will actually reach back out to you that work, as an employee versus someone that's a hiring manager, because you got to think the hiring managers, they're busy. They get so many people emailing them, they're reviewing resumes. If you just reach out to someone who's just working the regular 9 to 5, you might catch them when they're, on the weekend and they're like, oh, I have time, I can answer this. And I will have people reach out to me and they will answer some of my questions. And then funny enough, when I actually landed the job that I got, I had people reaching out to me saying, hey, I applied for this job. Can you help me? And so of course I'm going to give it back. And I would just help them. And it was this one girl, and I helped her through the process. Like literally she ended up getting the job. And I'm not saying I got her the job, but her asking me those questions, I feel like it maybe put her at ease. She was more prepared because she knew what to expect. And of course, she had to sell herself on the interview, but she ended up getting the job. And we actually were talking through chat once she got the job. And so it was so funny. So I definitely tell people, reach out to the people in the position that have the role that you want, because 9 times out of 10, they're more likely to respond than like a hiring manager or recruiter.
Good. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think about an interview. I think I watched an interview through Cyrus, and I was listening to him and another person in tech sales, and he mentioned the importance of being on LinkedIn for your social media. So a lot of times we waste time on Instagram, Facebook, even YouTube, when we could be investing that time into our LinkedIn profile and reaching out to people that will definitely open up the doors for us. So that, it means a lot for you to spend time on other platforms and reaching, like you said, reaching out to people within that same industry, and you could definitely have what it takes in order to maybe move forward, have more confidence, or even just the tools, the resources, the people, the names to put to different roles. So that's awesome in itself, and I love that. So listen, the fact that you landed the job within 24 days, like, it gives me chills when I think about it, because I'm just thinking about how determined you are, how hardworking, focused. Like, I love that. So were there any actions or you're welcome. Were there any actions or strategies that you implemented to help you secure your role within that short time frame? And also, if you had the opportunity to job hop, which I don't think you did, but I'm not sure what that looked like. Did you job hop a little bit before you landed the role securely? What did that look like?
So no, I didn't job hop. I just got this role. This was my first role. And as far as like strategy, honestly, like I said, I feel like when your back is against the wall, like you have no choice but to push. My back was against the wall. I knew that I had a deadline. I was like, listen, at the end of March, everything is going to be gone. I do not have time to waste. I literally sat at my dining room table with my laptop, and I treated it like it was a job. I treated the course like it was a job. When I was doing the course, I would sit at my computer while my kids were at school, my husband was at work, and I would just sit there like as if it was my job. And I would complete one module every single day, or I would study for the quiz, or I would do my resume, whatever it was. I knew that that was my job for the day. So giving yourself a goal, I just was like, this is what I'm doing for the day. I knew what I was going to do when I woke up that day. But as far as strategy with actually getting a job, honestly, I really was just using what they taught me in the course, how to look for jobs on LinkedIn, and then what I had previously known about looking for jobs on Indeed, because I still think Indeed is a great job board. But LinkedIn, of course, it's a little better. I will say that it's better because you can actually contact people on there. But I just was like, you know what? I know what I'm looking for. I knew that I was not going to take anything, even though I didn't have a job. I just knew that I wasn't going to take a job that was paying me less than what I was already making. I had to at least have base pay of at least what I was making before. So that way I knew bills could be paid, things like that. And that's just kind of where I started. It had to be remote, of course, because, we had moved out far from where I'm usually from. So I wasn't going to be able to drive to work. It had to be remote, had to make a certain amount of money. And also I had to like what it was that I was going to be selling or making appointments for, because I feel like if you're not okay with whatever, the company is selling, you're not going to really do good, because you're not going to really be into it. And so the company that I ended up working for, I think it was a match made in heaven, because they're a service-based business. And so they basically we're basically providing female entrepreneurs. We're matching them up with virtual assistants to help them in their business. And so for me, having a business before, being a driven person, always wanting to work for myself, I was like, this is perfect. And then it's female, the woman who owns the company, she's a female. It was just like perfect. 70% of the people that work there are female. So I just felt like it was a match made in heaven. But I think when you're looking for jobs, you want to make sure that you have a list of things that you want. Now, I understand you're not going to get everything you want, but there are some things that are non-negotiable. So for me, it was the salary. For me, it was working remote. You know, I have to enjoy whatever it is that they're selling. I'm not saying I have to buy it or use it in my life, but I have to be okay with it. And so just those three things, I felt like once I saw that in the job description, if, you know, it was okay, I said, okay, I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply, because I mass applied. That was my thing. I had to mass apply, but I wasn't just applying for any job. I would briefly look over every job description. And then again, if it had those three things, I would just apply. Also, another thing, I was applying for jobs that mentioned they needed college degrees. I was still applying. The job I ended up getting said college degree preferred, which of course you don't have to have it, but they prefer it. So I ended up applying anyway. I don't have a college degree. I have some experience, but I don't have a degree. So I still ended up applying, and I ended up getting a job. So definitely, I would say, even if it says, you know, mandatory, I mean, if it's mandatory, then hey, if you don't have the degree, then okay, I get that. But if it says preferred, I would still take a chance, because they may still like what they see on your LinkedIn profile or what you have on your resume, and they may still offer you an interview.
Absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of the time companies might put that there just to kind of weed out the folks that are not as invested in the role. They want someone who's serious. So yeah, absolutely. Just give me one moment to turn on my light.
Okay. I need to charge mine.
Yes. You know, the sun is actually going down over here. So.
Yeah, the sun is out. You know, I'm on the East Coast, so the sun is like, it's dark over here, like dark.
Yes, I see.
So I have my light on.
Yes, it's what, 6:30 over there?
Yeah, 6:30. Yep.
Yes. All right. Okay, so so we talked about a lot. Can you describe the application process for your current job? Like, what steps did you take to stand out to those employers?
Okay,
and we'll get to the questions. I'm sorry, we'll get to the questions very shortly. We just have a few more questions that I want to ask, and then we'll get to the Q&A section for those of you in the chat. All right. Yes, take it away.
So the process was, and typically in this type of role, whether it's SDR or account executive, you are going to have like multiple interviews. You're going to have at least 3 interviews. And so for me, it ended up being 4, but originally it was supposed to be 3. So the first step was, like I said, they sent me an email, and the email was basically, it was like a preliminary. Basically, they wanted me to record a video of myself, 30 seconds. I clicked the link, I record myself 30 seconds. And the question was, why do I feel I would be a good salesperson? Or, you know, why do I feel I'm good in sales? And so the option, they did let you re-record it as many times as you want, because I think I re-recorded like 5 or 6 times because I just wanted to get it right. But I eventually ended up sending it off. And I will say, you have to start with confidence. You have to lead with confidence, because that is what they're looking for in these type of roles, confidence. And so I just made sure that in that video, that whatever I said, that I sounded confident and that it was believable. And so I got something back literally in a couple of hours, asking me to put myself on a schedule for my first interview. And so I ended up scheduling it for maybe 3 days out, because I wanted to give myself time to prepare, because I was a little nervous at that point. I was like, okay, let me make sure I know what I'm doing. And so basically what I ended up doing was, I found this guy on YouTube, and I just started binge watching his videos. His name is Sab Subie, I think. He's in the sales world, but he knows what he's talking about. Like, he's really successful. And I watched a lot of his videos, and his videos are mainly geared around sales, but not more so interviews, just how to sell. But I was using that, you know, information, because I'm like, okay, this is what they're looking for in a salesperson. So let me just take that information. So I went to the first interview, which is typically going to be with the recruiter. And their job is just to ask you a lot of, you know, basic questions, a little bit about your background, tell you about the company, things like that. And this was a pivotal moment, I would say, in the process of me getting the job. And so basically at the end of the interview, she just said, well, I thought it went well. And she was just like, well, you know, looking at your resume, she's like, I hear what you're saying, you know, everything sounds good. She's like, but looking at your resume, you don't really have as much experience as we would like. She was like, but she said, how does that make you feel? And so when she asked me that, first of all, I never had anybody on the interview ask me, how does them not
Mm.
wanting to hire me make me feel?
Right.
So I immediately was like, okay, is this a trap? I was like, I don't care. I'm going to use it and I'm going to leverage it. And I was just like, I sold myself. I was like, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I was like, I just started listing off all of my qualities. And I said, I know that right now my resume doesn't show that I have all of the experience. I went over everything that I did learn in course careers. And then I also told her, I was like, I'll make you a deal. I was like, if you just allow me the opportunity to continue with this interview process, I said, and I do end up getting hired, I said, give me a quarter, give me 1 quarter, 90 days, 3 months to actually prove to you that I can be one of your top salesmen. I said, then after that, we can talk or you can let me go. I said, but give me the opportunity, because what I do have is drive. I have hunger.
Yes,
and she was so shocked at the end of that. She was like, okay. She was like, okay, let's set up the second interview.
What do you do?
Right. And she was like, okay.
Yes.
So, and that was really adrenaline at that time, because
Yes.
I didn't know she was going to ask me that, but I was like, I can't just say, okay, that's fine, maybe next time. I was like, no, I need this job. I need this job.
Yeah.
And so after that, she set up the second interview, and she did tell me the second interview was going to be a mock sales call. And so typically in this industry, you will have at least one mock sales call. And so that's where it's just like a mock trial. Basically, it's a pretend sales call with someone on their sales team or either the hiring manager, and you have to just, be the salesperson, act like how you would if you were on a real sales call. And so I will say, in the entire process, I was most nervous for that, because again, I have no actual sales experience. I have dealt with rebuttals, how to handle that, but I don't have really sales experience on how to push someone to buy what I'm offering. And so again, I refer back to that the guy Sab Subie on YouTube. He has this video on tonality, and I watched that video so many times. And he's like, everything that he was saying don't do, I was going to do. Like, I was prepared to, like, well, yeah, act like a car salesman, because that's all I knew was, let me just get you in here, and he's like, do not do that, don't do that. He's like, you have to let the person on the call know that you are in charge from the beginning. And he was just saying how important tonality is. And so I stuck with tonality. That word stuck with me. And so they did give me a script to read over. And so when we got on the call, they let me shut down my camera, for a little bit more confidence. So that did help me. And I just kind of went in there, and I felt like I did pretty good. And they said and the thing that really got me was, they said, I loved your tonality. And I was like, oh my God, if I had not watched that video, I was like, I had not watched that video. And so after that, the person was just like, well, yeah, she was like, I think this is good. I'm ready to hire you. And I was like, okay, I thought I had the job. And everything was good. And then this was a Friday, and they're like, yeah, we'll send everything over by the end of the day. I hadn't got anything. Monday came. I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's like 3:00. And so I ended up messaging the hiring manager, and she's like, they're really being picky with who they're hiring. And they really like you, but they want to bring you in for one more mock sales call, but this time with the entire sales team.
Oh, Lord.
And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay, I have to do this again. So, but I did it. I had the camera cut off, so it gives you a little bit more confidence. And so I cut the camera off, and that was pretty much it. I did that, and they were like, okay, that's it. We want you. And I got my offer letter at the end of that day.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. So you mentioned tonality. Are there any other skills that were essential to not only your interview, but just in tech period? Are there any other skills that are really important that should stand out on someone's resume?
Well, on your resume, or even in 2 different things. So okay, yeah, I was going to say, so during the interview, I would say, again, confidence. That is going to take you so far. Hunger, confidence. Also, another thing they kept mentioning, the hiring manager, she kept mentioning, was how you handle rejection. They do not want you to fold under pressure. You have to, and that was something when I did the mock sales call, the person that was on the other end pretending to be the customer, they kept coming with these rebuttals like, oh no, I don't want this. And you have to be able to, bounce back from that and be able to handle rejection. And so they don't want anybody that's going to, or even just rejection in the job force or in your life, because they ask questions like, how do you handle rejection in your day-to-day life? So going into these interviews, confidence is going to be key. Letting them know that you are hungry, you have the drive, and you're willing to learn. even if you don't have all the skills right now, if you just showcase that, that's going to be something big for you. Because I promise you, in this type of industry, that's all they're looking for, people that they can train. Because I feel like if you have the confidence and you're easy, or someone that can be trained, it's better to hire someone like that versus someone that is scared or doesn't know how to handle rejection. So if you just showcase that from the very first interview, I feel like that will take you far.
Yeah.
And as far as on your resume, I think it really just comes down to how you format your resume. Definitely, I will say I actually do resumes. I'm a resume writer as well, and I
Love
used to
that.
do that before tech.
Yeah.
But I will say something that is very important is you have to, two things. Number one, whatever course you take, make sure you add that as an intern position on your resume. You have
Mm-hmm.
to add it to the top of your resume, because a lot of these hiring managers and recruiters, when they see your resume, once it finally gets past, ATS scanners, and they have it in front of them, they're not looking at your entire resume. Statistically, they're looking at 50% of your resume. So if you have no experience and the only thing you have is, let's say, course careers, they're going to have to go all the way to the bottom where your education section is to see that you have any knowledge. So no, we want them to see that at the beginning. You're going to put your skills at the top, and then you're also going to have your course as an intern position. So I had it on there as a sales development intern because I wasn't getting paid, but I learned this information. So I put it on there.
Yes.
And, it helped me, because also on my job interview, when they were looking at my resume, they were asking questions about course careers. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's another talking point. So that way you can talk about the skills you do have and you just learned versus what you don't have. So
Yeah.
that was the first thing. And then anything else on your resume, any other jobs, whether it is experience in sales or not, you want to make sure that you format it and you reword it to have all the keywords that you need for the industry. So like I said, I do have transferable skills in customer service, but a lot of terminology that they use in tech sales is clients. They don't really say customer, they say client. So I just went in there, and wherever I would have customer, I changed the word out for client.
Yeah.
I would, add certain keywords that I knew were pertinent to this particular industry. So definitely just revamp your resume. Take your time with this. Don't rush that part, because that's really key. Resume and LinkedIn. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you touched on a little bit of the jargon. Is there any other type of jargon or a terminology that is helpful to know as you are like pivoting into tech?
Mm-hmm. So there's quite a lot. The only thing I will say, in the course, they teach you a lot about jargon and stuff like that in the course, but spin selling, like, so BANT, things like that, BANT, which stands, it's an acronym for something. There may be certain things that is in the course that you may not be asked on your interview, but you may hear about it once you get an actual job. But as far as terminology, they didn't really ask me too much during my interview about like specific terminology, but they mentioned systems like HubSpot. That's the system, the CRM system that they use. I was familiar with HubSpot only because of Course Careers, because I had never used HubSpot. The only CRM system I ever used was Salesforce. And so just having knowledge of that, I was able to say, oh, well, yes, I do have some, knowledge of HubSpot, and I'm familiar, because it lets them know, oh, we don't have to train her so much on
Yeah.
this because she already knows. So just when you're in the course, just little things like that. I was more so getting prepared for the interview, trying to remember systems and things like that I knew if they mentioned if I had any experience, I could say, yes, I do, because I think that, that's better than saying no.
Yes.
So yeah.
Good. I love that Course Careers like helps a person present themselves in a way that it doesn't become like, oh Lord, another person I have to train or put through. It's not that they feel that way, but it makes it a lot easier to kind of get through. You're able to kind of acclimate into the company, understand a lot of the stuff that, the terminology, the things that they say, and you're not needed to train as hard as someone who just is simply just fresh and new and didn't know anything. Yeah, because I do see a lot of jobs for SDRs that don't require experience at all. So just about anyone would be, applying, but not everyone has a little backing educationally.
Yeah, that's why I say I feel like Course Careers, because if I had known about tech sales, I'm not saying I would have God really led me here. I say that God led me here because I was not even thinking about tech, definitely didn't know about the word of tech sales.
Yeah.
But if I were to, let's say, try to get a job straight out, without taking a course, I definitely feel like it would have been harder. Could I have gotten interviews? Maybe, but I wouldn't have known how important LinkedIn was. So I wouldn't have been applying on LinkedIn, or, I wouldn't know how to actually set up certain parts of my resume because I wouldn't know keywords from this
Yes.
industry. And so just taking the course taught me a lot of things that I knew I needed to add in my resume, in my LinkedIn, to optimize my LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And so they teach you a lot of the stuff. And even though I say basic, I say that a lot. They teach you the basics, but it's the information that you need. It's what
Mhm.
you need to break, to get your foot in the door and break into this industry. And once you get your foot in the door, I tell anybody, once you're in there, add that job to your LinkedIn profile
Mhm.
and keep going. You can, if you want to move up with the company, do that. If you want to go to another company after a certain amount of time, you can do that. But
Mhm.
you want to at least get that hands-on experience. And that's what Course Careers set you up for. They set you up to be successful once you get your foot in the door, that you can now go and get hands-on training at your first job. And so I love that.
I love that too. And I
Mm-hmm.
find it a little like I hurt for people that mention, oh, tech, it just seems too hard. I don't think I could do
Yeah.
it. Course Careers gives you kind of mentorship and kind of a step in. Um, when you hear it's who you know, well, it's an entire course filled with information and people backing
Mm-hmm.
it. So it pretty much leads you into the industry as a whole. And I find it
Yeah.
amazing, even more so, that our, African American community is being more like awakened to tech. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
myself, I didn't understand tech at all since I saw Anthony O'Neill's channel and how that popped up. And the fact that
Right.
you were interviewed on that channel, what is this? I just saw that
No,
today. I was
that was
like, girl
that
is
was a
so
full circle
amazing.
moment. That was a real full circle
That
moment
was
because I
so
was like, wait,
awesome.
that was really full circle. And it was such a blessing. Because I was like, oh my gosh, like it was this, his channel that really
Yeah.
kind of propelled everything. And then to be able to be interviewed, it was literally full circle. But taking the course just opened up so many doors.
Absolutely. And I'm so appreciative for you being here. You could be anywhere else. You are here. And
Thank you for having me
I,
here.
I am so grateful. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you
So,
for having me.
yes. So just one last question before our Q&A and before we wrap
Sure.
up. Do you have any advice for people who are looking to break into the tech industry and particularly into the sales
Mm-hmm.
arena like you are?
I would definitely, I mean, of course, we're talking about course careers. I would say take a course. I'm not saying you have to take course careers, but of course that's, near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
But take a course, take something that is going to teach you what you need to know to break in that industry if you don't have any experience. Or even if you have little experience, and because there are some people that actually have a little bit of experience, but they're like, I haven't been in this industry in a long time. I don't remember a lot of this. And there are people from all across the United States, even the world, that take this course.
Yes.
And I definitely feel like you want to take something that's going to set you up for success. And that's exactly
Mhm.
what the course does. As far as everything else, I would highly suggest getting your LinkedIn together and your resume. Course
Yeah.
Careers is the first start. That's the beginning, right? But you have to also set yourself up to be able to get these jobs. Because if your resume is not in line or your LinkedIn is trash, it's going to be hard. I would say those two things are just as important as the information that you learn, because it was, that trifecta that actually, led me to get the job, because it was my resume, the way I formatted it and set it up with keywords, the way I optimized my LinkedIn so it can be found by hiring managers. So those things are important, and they, if you can get that done, whether you hire someone or whether you learn to do it yourself. You just have
Mhm.
to know exactly what to do, but don't skip out on those two parts. Those are really important.
Yes, absolutely. Because you can have all of the qualifications and the resume that's actually being communicated to the company with. If it doesn't
Hmm.
have what they're looking for, it's you don't get called
Right.
back, and people wonder why. That could be one
Yeah.
of the reasons why you didn't have exactly what they're looking for, or the robotic ATS systems that these companies are
Hmm.
using. They can't see any keywords or qualifications.
Exactly.
So it's really important.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And I
Okay.
will say,
Yes.
oh, I was going to say, I know that there are some people, because, my story as far as how quickly it took me to break into tech. I want
Mhm.
people to understand that everybody's journey is going to be their own. Take your time. If you are still working a 9 to 5, it takes you longer to get through the course, that's okay. Give yourself a goal every day. If you're like, I only have an hour a day, I only have 2 hours, or maybe on the weekends you have free time, give yourself a goal so that you can actually get through the course, and just really, really take it serious. I feel like when you give yourself a goal and an overall goal, and then you break it down to daily tasks, it's easier to actually achieve because you know what you're doing and you don't feel like you're kind of lost in
Mhm.
your journey. So that is what really, really helped me, was having a goal and sticking to that every day.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
I am inspired, and I am not in the tech sales particular industry. I'm more leaning into the human resources and just
Yes, I
tapping
saw
into
that on
that
there.
part of course careers. But
Hmm.
yes, I so encourage you guys to link up with Alisia, because she has so much to offer, including the resume writing and so forth. So now I want to open up the stage or floor. If you guys have any questions, this is definitely a good time. I do see a few questions. As you guys are sending them now, we can get back to. Okay, here's one question by Queen Kia. I hope you're still here with us. Would current certifications as a Scrum Master and product owner help as well? I'm assuming that she means, would those particular certifications help when it comes to getting into tech or into the
Hmm.
tech sales fields?
I think, well, okay, so is she trying to, I guess it would be a question of, is she trying to break into tech sales? But just getting into tech, if she has that Scrum Master certification, that's already good right there.
Mhm.
As far as just being able to start applying for jobs. Now, specifically, if she's trying to get into tech sales, she may still want to take a course if she feels like maybe she wants to brush up on, tech skills, certain verbiage terminology.
Right.
But if she's just trying to get into tech, just that certification alone is good to be able to at least start applying for jobs. Once you have your resume and everything formatted, as well as your LinkedIn, I feel like you can at least start applying for jobs right now with just that certification.
Absolutely. And someone asked, what was the guy's name, the YouTuber that you found that was so inspiring to you? What was his name?
So is she talking about she's talking about the guy on YouTube,
Yeah.
Sabri. So I don't know if I am I able to chat in here? Because I can
You,
put it in the chat.
yes, please do.
Okay. Okay, I can put it in here. I'm gonna type his name, and he is so, I mean, his videos are just inspiring. And I may be spelling it wrong, but I promise once you put it in, it's going to pop up because he has a whole
Mhm.
bunch of followers. But Sabri Subie, and then put in tonality. I'm just going to put in tonality. So just, I'm not sure if you guys can see that.
I don't
If
see
not,
it.
I can just
Oh, you know
spell
what?
it for you.
That popped up in our private chat. But let me.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure if you have access to the regular comments. Oh, okay. I think someone.
Oh, is it just comment? Oh, I see it right
Oh, there
here.
you
It
go.
says join the
Yeah.
chat. Okay.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll just add in tonality. I,
Yeah, Sabri Subi tonality. Yes. Oh,
yes,
someone put it
yes.
in there. Thank you. Yes, I see the comments. I
Word
didn't
of
even
the
see these the whole time.
day.
Yeah,
Word of
so
the
that
day. Tonality. Oh, oh, there you go. Yes. Oh,
yes.
I'm so sorry. I didn't hear what I think you were just trying to say something and it popped out.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, someone put it in the chat. So that's it, Sabri Subi. And I looked at the tonality video before I did my interview. And I just
Mhm.
started looking at a lot of his other videos once I actually got the job to, learn how to brush up on my sales skills.
Nice. Okay. Well, does anyone have any other questions? If not, we can kind of do our little wrap up. I have some fun questions. I know you've been answering so many questions for like an
That's
hour,
okay. It's okay.
but we're just gonna wrap it up with some fun, relaxing questions. If
Okay.
you guys don't have any, I guess I'll just kind of scoot into this. So, what is your go-to comfort food after a long day of work, selling, or whatever, all that you do throughout the day? Once you're able to kick
Hmm.
back, what is the one thing that you go to that just gives you that peace or that comfort?
So right. So right now, I'm not eating it right now because I'm actually on a health journey. So I'm like working out and eating right. I don't know, I shouldn't make that face.
I know.
But I'm like on a health journey.
Yeah.
But I will say my favorite, I really love sweets. So and that's like a problem. That's why I haven't been eating it.
Mm,
But I love sweets. And if I could just have like a bowl of French vanilla ice cream with like
mm,
medium rare chocolate cookies,
okay.
like
Yeah.
the gooey kind over
Yeah.
top of my ice cream. That's it.
Oh, that sounds
That's
good.
it. I
That
would be a
sounds
happy girl.
yes. Okay, so we do have a question.
I love
Well,
it.
two people asked, how much does
Okay.
the course careers cost? So depending on the course that you are interested in, because they have so many different ways that you can break into tech. Um, so you know what? Would I be able to pull that up? All right, you know what? I'll put the link to course careers. Oops. Or actually, it's in the description box, but I'll put it in here as well. All right. And they have payment plans.
And
So
they
if you
do offer oh yeah, I was just going to say that.
yeah, go ahead. That's my favorite part
Oh,
because
I was
not
just going to
everyone,
say yeah, they have payment plans.
yes, absolutely. So for me, my course,
Mhm.
the human resources course was maybe about $500, but I'm able to, that's approximately, but I was able to break it down into payments. So you don't necessarily need to dish out the whole thing right then and there, and you don't have a whole credit check to be able to qualify for it. So if you're able to break it down, they you can pay what every 2 weeks or so until you're
Mhm.
finished, and then you have it for life, pretty much.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, the free introductory course. Yeah, so they have a free version so that you can kind of dip your toe in and understand what it is that you will be learning. And after you finish the free course, you're able to choose whether or not you want to go forward with the full course. And that's where you can either pay it out fully or break up your payments into manageable bits. So I hope that was understandable. And I gave you guys the website. I'm hoping that it was a clickable link. Yes. All right. Another question. So, what is your guilty
Okay.
pleasure TV show or movie that you love to binge watch?
Oh my gosh. I have so okay, this is so true. So every night, I don't know why, but what helps me fall asleep, I really love Golden Girls. Like I have a
Oh,
Golden
okay.
Girls cup blanket. I love Golden Girls. So I like will sit and watch Golden Girls until I fall asleep. I don't know why, but it just puts me at ease. I don't know
Oh,
why, but I love them and that's like one of my favorite shows.
I love that. It's something about the old shows that kind of just make you feel,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
So
does.
me personally, I love me some reality TV show. So yeah, that kind of helps me to kind of allow my brain to just ease after a full day of just thinking
Hmm.
details and information. I'm just able to sit down and vegetate and watch someone else's drama.
Right.
So yeah,
Yes, I do. I will watch a couple of those. I will.
yeah.
I'm not above reality TV. I will
Oh
watch
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, to each his own. But I
Right.
do love the
Hmm.
Love is Blind. Have you seen that
Oh,
on
I
Netflix?
love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Yes, I love that.
yeah. Okay. Okay,
Yes, I
one more
love that one.
question, or two more questions actually. So,
Okay.
if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh, I love this question. I was waiting for somebody one day to ever ask me this question. I love this question because I went through a lot in my life. Like I went through a lot of trials and tribulations
Mm,
just in my life overall. So, but I'm not going to get into that. But I will say, if I could give myself one piece of advice, I would literally just tell myself to focus on me. And I know that sounds selfish, but honestly, all of my life, I've always been focused on whether that was a boyfriend, other family. I just never really gave myself a full opportunity to just be my best version. And so I feel
mm,
like now at this stage in my life, I'm able to just like go hard for me, especially with my kids being older. You know, I'm
yes.
just like, I want to take this time to just focus on me. So if I can go back, I would say, girl, worry about yourself.
Mm.
Worry about yourself. Look, okay, them boys gonna be there. Just worry
Right?
about yourself.
Yes. I
Yes.
aspire because right now I have two small children and everything, all of my energy is just, I love them, but I'm
Yes.
not able to focus
Yeah.
on myself. So I truly
Yes.
aspire
It's a lot.
to have that. Yeah. And that's good because a lot of, like you said, we have so many different roles and
Hmm.
we exhaust ourselves in so many places that at the end of the day, there's nothing left for us. So that's
Yes.
amazing advice. And I love that. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
Where
Okay.
can people follow your personal brand and support you in your future success? Oh, and I have another
Yes.
question
So,
actually. It's a quick one though.
okay. I do have it listed under my name, Technically Blessed, which is on YouTube as well as on TikTok. I'm mostly on there. I have a YouTube, I have an Instagram account, but I'm not really active. I'm mainly active on YouTube as well as TikTok. And from there, you can see my links, my services. If you guys ever need help, I do offer one-on-ones, resume revamping, as well as a bunch of other stuff, LinkedIn optimization. So yeah, if you guys just need help or just have some questions, you can shoot me an email. I don't mind helping out wherever I can. So
Absolutely.
technically blessed, that's me.
Okay, awesome. Yes, you guys hit her up. I also have her information in the description box, so I hope that you guys are able to see that. If you're watching in the re-recording posting, I do have that there as well. Okay, so last but not least,
Yes.
what are your future goals? Now that you've landed a tech job, do you have any goals moving forward?
Yes, I do. So my goal, I've always been a driven person. Even when I wasn't in the place where you would think someone would have as, big dreams as what I had. I always
Mm,
wanted to work for myself. I never honestly wanted to work for someone the rest of my life. Very blessed to be able to have this role, especially from where I came from. But my goal has always been to work for myself, be an entrepreneur, and work for myself. And so that's where I'm slowly working towards. I started my coaching business so that I
right.
can give back the knowledge that, I was able to learn. So I
Mhm.
give back and do that. And I'm just starting another business where I'm focusing on my digital marketing business. And
Yes.
I actually just finished a course for that.
Okay.
And I mean, like one thing I will say, you have to invest in yourself. You have to
Yes.
invest in yourself. And so I'm like, I don't really know too much about this other than watching YouTube videos. But I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
Let me pay for this course. The
Mhm.
last time I paid for a course, it worked out. So let me go
Yes,
ahead and
there
pay for
you
this one
go.
and see what happens. So that's just kind of my journey. And I'm just in the process of, getting that built up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just focusing on, I feel like the latter years of my life, I really just want to live comfortably and travel, which is my love language, and
Nice.
just live
I love
comfortably, be financially free.
Yes, that is the goal. Absolutely. And I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so thank you so
Yes.
much a million times for being here.
Of
Your
course.
story is so inspiring and I know that God has so much more in store for you. I'm excited just to follow you.
Thank you.
Yes, just to follow you. I just followed you on LinkedIn, so I'm really excited to see what more you
Okay,
have
perfect.
on YouTube. So yeah, just
Okay.
to be able to continue to support you, see what next is in line for you. I know that the future is going to be even better than what you're doing even right now, and you're happy now. So I'm excited to see what
Thank you.
more there
Yes.
is for you. Yes. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I just thank you.
Yes. Yes, I know I've
Yeah,
had
I
you
just
here.
wanted to thank you for sorry, I wanted to just thank
Oh,
you for
it's
having
okay.
me on here. And
Absolutely.
then just what you do on your platform, helping people, be able to work, and find these jobs and just be able to, transition into other positions in their life. And so I just want to thank you for what you do. What you're doing is giving back, and the knowledge that you have and the energy you put out. Because I know, like, to have as many followers as you have and to like actually have to continuously put out content and create, it's a job in itself. And so you said you have 2 small kids, so I know it's a lot. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And one person asked, what is your name on LinkedIn?
Oh, my name on LinkedIn is actually Alisia Sharice.
Okay.
So, but if you go to any of my like YouTube or my TikTok, if you click on the link that's in my bio, it has all of my other social handles on there. So it'll have my LinkedIn, and you can just go directly from there. But it's Alisia Sharice.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Alisia. Thank you so much.
Hey, of course.
Yes, we've been here for about an hour now, and I feel like we've covered so much. So if you guys are, if you just tuned in or you tuned in a little late, I will be posting this again on the channel so that you guys can see the full interview, because she's got so much to offer you guys. And yes, please do reach out to her. Her social medias, I have that in the description box down below. Thank you so much. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week. I hope that it goes very smoothly and easily. Thank you again.
You too. No problem. Thank you. And thank you everybody for watching.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
All right. Good night.